Hey there guys, DCShare here and welcome to another Master Duel video. In this one, I will be showcasing my Fluffle deck, or in this case, Fluffle slash Frifur. Now, there are some things in the replay that I used, but in the whole entire deck, it's literally fusion summoning the deck. So it's very easy to actually OTK, well, depending on how you're used to the combos, because this deck is mostly reliant on going second and OTKing on that exact turn. So turn 2 is your best bet to OTK, or if you're going first, your main way of surviving is to have one of these monsters like your Fluffles and have a Edgem Scythe in your hand. That's what you can normally expect to actually start on your turn 1. So what Scythe is good for, I'll explain later, because Scythe is one of your best ways to actually survive in main phase 1. Also not main phase 1, turn 1. But you might see that I'm running 3 bears, 3 Fluffle bears. You actually don't need 3 bears. I only play 3 because, well, I was making the deck and I forgot that I ran 3 bears. You only actually need 2, so you can take one out and you can actually place it for another Edgem Scythe if you are actually making this deck. Also, I ran some Link monsters. I ran Appaloosa and I also ran Access Code Talker. You don't actually need to run those in this deck because, for one, I never ever used them. Even if I tried to make Appaloosa, the problem is when I made Appaloosa, it got kaiju'd, and that's why I decided to take it out. And if you're thinking what you could replace for them, you could replace it for Totally Awesome and Bahamut Chuck, which I will, which I never used. But you can make Bahamut Chuck easily by making 2 water monsters, which the only water monsters are is Fluffle Penguin. So if you try and figure out a way to actually summon a penguin, great. Anyway, let me explain the deck. So I'm running 1 Fluffle Cat. Fluffle Cat allows you to add back Polymerization if you use for fusion summon in your hand. So yeah, very very good. You can only use the effect once per turn to grab back a Polymerization, but it's very very handy because it allows you to combo. Because there's one time or a couple times in the replays where my opponent does something to one of my Polymerizations and I had backup copies. So yeah, Fluffle Cat very very good for this deck. You don't have to run it. Some decks don't actually run Cat at all, but I like it because it allows me to fetch back Polymerization and allows me to keep going. And believe me, when you keep going, there's a lot of people that rage quit. Anyway, 2 Fluffle Wings. You only need 2. You don't really need 3rd. So what does in the graveyard is that if it's in the graveyard and you control Toy Vendor, you can manage this card from your graveyard and another Fluffle monster, banish it and draw a card, and then you can send Toy Vendor to your graveyard to draw another card. And if that's not plus enough, so you plus 2, you can add from Toy Vendor, so you go plus 3 in a sense, or yeah, plus 3 in a way, plus 2 to 3 depending on how you use it. So very very good. 3 Maxi. This is the only hand trap you need for this deck. You can run like Forbidden Droplets and stuff to help you combat going second, but to be honest, it never ever came up. And also the amount of URs I'm running this deck is also kind of limited, so I try to make this version kind of as UR friendly as possible, or in this case try and make it so that you don't have to spend a lot of URs a lot of UR to get a lot of UR cards in general. Anyway, 1 Fluffle Sheep, very good extender. If you control a Fluffle monster, you accept itself, you can summon it from your hand. Also, if you control a Fluffle monster, you can return it to your hand. Another Fluffle monster, you can return to your hand and special summon Edgem from your hand or graveyard. Very very good. Another one I'm running is the main staple as a one-off, Edgem Sabers. Sabers is, if this card is in your graveyard, you can place 1 card from your hand on top of your deck and special summon this in the Defense mission. You can actually combo this pretty easily with Toy Vendor so that you can stack the top card of your deck as a Fluffle monster, and that's how you can spam Fluffles in a way. If you can stack one of your dogs, you can add a free dog in a way once you discard a random card from Toy Vendor, and you can literally reveal dog when you draw from Toy Vendor, and then you special summon the dog, and you can add a Fluffle monster. Very, very good. 3 bears. In this case, you should run 2. Don't run 3. I'm running 3 because I forgot. So run this as a 2 and 3 Edgem Scythe ratio. So 2 bears and 3 scythes. I'm running 3 scythe. 2 scythe. But in my original build, I actually ran 3. So scythe is the best way of actually fusion summoning during your opponent's turn. So during your opponent's main phase, actually, before that, let me explain how Fluffle Bear works. So it discards in your hand. You can set a Toy Vendor directly from your deck onto the spell and trap zone. So you discard it and set Toy Vendor. And also, you don't really use this on the field, but it does sometimes come up, but it's very hard to do. Sometimes. You can, if it's on the field, so you normal summon it or special summon it anyway on the field. Tribute it. Tribute discard and target a polymerization in your graveyard, add it back to your hand. When I was playing this online, I wanted to find a way instead of running, because normally people actually run Owl anymore for some weird reason. Where's Owl? This one. When it's normal special summon, you can add polymerization. No one actually runs this anymore. I don't know why, but if you do want to run Owl, you can. If you want to take out one of these bears for an Owl, because getting to polymerization is your main win condition, and it's really hard to do if you don't draw into a polymerization or a way to get to polymerization. Because if you don't draw polymerization or you don't get to a way to polymerization, you lose. So it's very, very hard to get to polymerization if it doesn't come up in your hand. And that's how Bear actually does come up sometimes when it comes to tributing and add back polymerization from your graveyard to your hand. Because sometimes you do reveal a polymerization from Toy Vendor, and it's not a Fluffle monster, so you have to discard it. So that's how Bear's second effect does come up sometimes. It does come in handy. So yeah, 2 Scythe. But honestly, you can run 3 Scythe. Scythe is probably one of your main ways to fusion summon during your opponent's turn. And yeah, what it does is it's during your opponent's main phase, it's a quick effect. You can reveal this card in your hand and fusion summon a Frightfur monster from your extra deck using materials, including itself. That's the only downside. So you have to use something else. So the only fusion monsters you would be able to summon from this is either the Whale or the Kraken. And let's see. So if the fusion monster you control would be destroyed by a card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. So very, very good if you are using a Whale. So I'll explain what Whale does later on, so you can actually combo with not combo, but more like have a free one-sided pop, but it costs you a Scythe in the graveyard. But that's the only downside. It's not really downside at all, to be honest. Free dog, main staple. When it's normal special summon, you can add a Edgem Sabers or a Fluffle monster from your deck to your hand. Very, very good. Also running free Edgem Chain. This one, you only use its second effect, so if you got sent from the hand or field to the graveyard, you can add in a Frightfur card from your deck to your hand. You can only use one effect per turn, only that turn, but you mostly grab any of your Frightfur cards, so you mostly grab your Patchwork or your Repair, or Fusion if you don't have it yet. So very, very good. Free Fluffle Penguin. So during the main phase, you can special summon a Fluffle from your hand, except Penguin. You can only use the effect face up once on the field. This card sent to the graveyard as material. You draw 2. If it's used for fusion material to fusion summon, you draw 2 and discard a card. So very, very good in terms of its effectiveness. 1 Fluffle Dolphin. This can reset a Toy Vendor from your graveyard, and you can reuse it, and then you can reuse it, during the same turn. Also, you can send a Fluffle or Edgem monster from your deck to your graveyard in addition. So it allows you to set up for more fusion materials. Also, if it's used for fusion material for summon, you can shuffle from your deck one of your fusion or polymerization spells that is banished from your graveyard. You don't really use it that much. So yeah. One Duster just to clear away back row, because this deck doesn't like back row, even though it pops a lot of back row, or pops any cards. 3 Polymerization, 1 Frightful Fusion, you only need 1. You need a way to fusion summon, and also a way to get to a way to fusion summon, so Edgem Chain allows you to fusion summon. This is like a Miracle Fusion if you know heroes. So banish from your field and graveyard to fusion summon. 3 Foolish Barrel Goods, you can run 2 of this, or you can run 3 like I am. Basically another way to get to your toy vendor milling, and also you can pretty much add any of your stuff. You can use this to send a Promulgation, and then if you normal summon Bear, if you're desperate enough, normal summon Bear and tribute it to add Promulgation from your graveyard to your hand. That's another way of doing it, but it rarely comes up. It very rarely comes up. Free Frightful Patchwork. Add a Edgem and a Promulgation from your deck to your hand. Very simple. Edgem monster, so Edgem Chain or Edgem Sabers and Promulgation, or Edgem Scythe. 1 Frightful Repair. You don't really use its first effect as much, but you can because you can target a Frightful Fusion in your graveyard, a Frightful Fusion monster, return to your extra deck and special summon Fluffle or Edgem Saber from Edgem monster from your graveyard. Free Reborn, I guess. I don't know. And then you can you mostly use it for this effect. So you banish this card from your graveyard, special summon a Fluffle or Edgem monster from your hand. That's very, very good. Free Toy Vendor. The main staple of this deck. So once per turn you can discard a card, draw a card, and show it to your opponent. If it's a Fluffle monster, you can special summon it. Otherwise, it gets discarded. You can special summon a Fluffle monster from your hand. Any Fluffle, once you reveal it's a Fluffle monster. And if this card's in your graveyard, sent to the graveyard in any way, you can add Edgem Sabers or a Fluffle monster. So free searchability, and it's not once per turn. So very, very good. The only effect for once per turn is it's on field effect where you can discard and draw, but that's the only thing you have to literally worry about. And 2 Call by the Grave, main staple. Because this deck hates hand traps, and 1 Wolf, Frightful Wolf, allows you, depending on how many materials are used for its fusion summon, you can attack that many times. So the minimum you can attack is 2 times. So if you use like 3 materials, you can attack 3 times. Pretty simple enough. 2 Frightful Tiger. It's interesting enough. The effects of this card is not once per turn. So depending on how many materials you use for a fusion summon, you can pop that many cards, up to that many cards. So if you use 2 materials to like Sabers and one Fluffle monster, you can pop 2 cards. That's the minimum requirement to pop. So you can pop 2 cards. So that's not once per turn. All 5 monsters gain range attack, depending on each one. They are different. That's the only difference. And you can only draw 1 of this. So you can only draw 1 of Frightful Tiger. That's its only downside weakness, but you don't really need it. It's not really a weakness much at all, because you can spam this pretty easily out, very easily. 1 Frightful Sabertooth. You only need 1. To be honest, I never even go into a second copy, so that's why I'm running 1. It rarely comes up. That's why I'm only running 1. That's why I just changed it for a different one. Also, when this card is fusion summoned, you can, if you use a Frightful monster as a material, you can special summon 1 Frightful monster from your graveyard. Also, all Frightful monsters gain 400 attack depending on how many each one you control. I think, yeah. If this card is fusion summoned using 3 or more materials, it can be destroyed by battle or card effects. Very, very good. For 2 Kraken, Edgem Saber and Fluffle. Once per turn, you can target a monster your opponent controls, send the graveyard. This card cannot attack directly to turn activates effect. Also, if this card can make a second attack during the battle phase. Very, very good. It does come up and is very good for OTK. Once per turn at the end of battle phase, if the card battled, changes to defense. So it's a good 3k defender. I'm running 3 Whale. I originally ran a 2, but then I tested a lot more often, and 3 copies does come up because you can make VFD or True King of Calamities very, very easily in this deck. So if this card's future summon, you can destroy a card on both place fields. Quick effect, this does come up a lot, but it's not good because it comes up every turn as a pop-up. You want to say no to this effect. So its quick effect is you pretty much do not want to use this unless you are trying to boost up certain things, or you try and use it for materials, for future summoning, from the graveyard. So you can send a Frightfur monster from your extra deck, Frightfur card from your deck or extra deck to the graveyard, and boost up one of your Frightfur monsters and gain attack. So it doesn't come up as often, but if it does come up. So it's very situational, but you only use it for the pop effect, and also So what it can what you usually do is you summon Scythe during your opponent's turn, and you pop a card, you target itself. So normally what you would do is you target the Kraken, the whale itself, and you target a card your opponent controls, destroy them. So use whale to pop itself, and then you can use Scythe to protect itself, because if a Frightfur monster would be destroyed by Frightfur Fusion, will be destroyed by battle card effect, banish it instead. So you banish this to protect your whale from getting destroyed. Pretty simple. One Totally Awesome and one Bahamut Shark. You only use Bahamut Shark to summon Totally Awesome, and this card can pretty much reset itself, go back into the extra deck. I think when you send from field to graveyard, you can target a water monster, can't you? This card sends to graveyard, target a water monster in graveyard, and add to your hand. So you can add back Totally Awesome. It's a quick effect, so it has a quick effect where you can tribute itself, and and if your opponent activates a spell trap monster effect, you can negate it and steal it. So it's pretty good, and you can use it for your own self if you want to. It doesn't come up as much, but it's an option where it does come up if you can make it. Bahamut Shark, 2 level 4 water monsters, pretty much summon penguin, 2 penguins, and summon this and make Totally Awesome. 1 Baguska, doesn't come up as much, but it is an option. 1 True King of all Calamities, make 2 whales and summon this. Very simple. So basically what True King of Calamities does is, during each player's turn, quick effect, you can attach a material, and all face-up monsters on the field become that attribute, and also all your opponent's monsters can't even attack or use their effects. So they change into that attribute. And if your opponent has that specific attribute, they can't even activate them in the hand or anywhere. So if you guess correctly, great. If you don't guess anything, and just activate and call any attribute, and your opponent can't activate monster effects on the field. Very, very simple, and very, very effective. 1 Nightmare Phoenix, in case you get Imperial Ordered or something. Imperial Order is the only thing that kind of stops this deck, because you do run a lot of spells. So make Nightmare Phoenix and pop a spell trap. So you pop Imperial Order, and you can still play. Very, very good. Yeah, it does come up in those situations, but in this case you don't even summon Phoenix at all, because you just go into future summoning spam and just destroy everything. And Cross Sheep. Cross Sheep is probably the only link summon monster that you would ever summon in this deck, or in this case, any non-extra deck monster that's not a fusion monster. So, if a monster is special summoned to a zone this card points to, basically fusion, you can special summon a level 4 level monster in graveyard, so pretty much extended plays. Very, very, very good if you need more fusion materials, but it rarely comes up, but yeah. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this nearly 20 minute long discussion of my Fluffle deck. So yeah, please rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Enjoy it, replays. Bye bye.